Hello, hello, we're here again with the Great Ace Attorney and all that stuff. I just really wanted to show off that, apparently the game decides that, it's just gonna show you... So hang on, I forgot about this thing. There we go. Yeah, you can see Luigi. I mean, Luigi. But apparently the game likes to show you the last area you saved in, I guess? And I hate it. I hate that this is my loading screen now. It's like, hey, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. By the way, your best friend is dead. In case you needed to know that. I swear, this is why I'll never be on a boat. Also, isn't it weird that every time we've been on a boat, someone dies? Like, even in Wind Waker. Link dies. And then the boat dies. Which is the worst part. Your boat's just a boat now. It's not even a guy. But anyways, from what I recall of the last time we were here... I'm sorry, Flame, but that's how we... get across the ocean. I can't swim. But we were talking with Inspector Hosonaga here, who is undercover and was supposed to protect our friend from being assassinated. And he didn't do a good job of that, but he feels bad about it, so I forgive him. It's not like he could have been in here the entire time and still been undercover. Although really, I don't see why he couldn't have been. But you know, clearly one of the Russian guys here are an assassin, because how else would I get drugged? But we were stowawaying on this boat ride to England, or Britain, one of the two. I think it was Britain. And... we were going to go on a great adventure with our good friend, and now he's dead. Yes, and the Russian on the floor. Which means, like, clearly someone here knows Russian, but I assume that Kazuma didn't know Russian, but I don't know, he's real smart, so... Also, we've been flipped by Susato, like, 7 times, because that's how she says hello, apparently. I already don't really like her character just because she's... I don't know. She's kind of dumb. Which is probably the point, but... it's like she got all upset that we were gonna read the diary, then someone else goes and reads it, and she's like, what's the problem? It's a big clue. Like, I was literally just saying that, and you scolded me. But whatever, it's fine.
Ew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting.
Well, no one can really best Maya. Well... See, I don't know, Kay is pretty good. Kay was always fun to have around. And so was, I'm blanking on her name. The one with Mr. Justice. Tracy? Magic Girl. I can't remember names, I'm sorry. Athena? No. Trucy, that was it. I wanted to say Tracy because that's my aunt's name. And I was like, no, Tracy's not right. There's a different letter in there. I don't know who Athena is. I mean, that's the goddess. I mean, I guess technically Athena helps me in Hades. But yeah, so far Sasato is the worst one that I've met. But, you know, we haven't really spoken to her. So maybe she'll get better after she stops suspecting us for murder. Hey, who are you? Also, hello. Hope you're having a good day. And not exploding or being flipped. No, it was Sudoku. It was just mathematical. You're you, nobody else.
Less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation.
Yeah, I guess he wouldn't have seen any of this. Also, there's a mousetrap?
Yes, indeed. Kazuma was being sent by the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, it's about twice as large as my accommodation in the steerage.
Really? That must be awful.
I'm over here now.
Another crewman keeping watch.
Oh, that was a different one? I thought this was the same guy that had the, like, stains on his face.
He looks enormous, even if he's sitting down.
Door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. Suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't.
I suppose. Like people in handcuffs?
When am I gonna get these taken off, by the way?
Naruhodo, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd been used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already.
Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe.
Must have been a very trying time for you.
Where did he go to the bathroom?
Please, don't give me that pitying look. Excuse me, but could I ask you something?
You little stowaway murderer! We are not in the tutorial anymore. I mean, this is technically the examining tutorial. Because this is the first time we've been able to move around. But otherwise, no, this is not the tutorial. But hello, Riesling. Hope you're having a good day.
It wasn't a very good start, was it?
Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. So sorry to trouble you. Could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class ladies' maid?
Oh.
Seem to have caught a sailor on a bad day, Sato.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Biff Stroganov.
Ew. Best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think.
But he has such good eyes. Although I'm still curious, like, why does he have this weird burn mark on his face? Yeah, he's Beef Stroganoff.
Yeah, Mr. Stroganoff, it's about this first-class cabin area.
Here we are in finest part of Buria steamship. Very important persons.
Sort of important persons.
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret. Many important persons, such as man who murdered, like you who murdered him. That is why I'm always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Sometimes I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganov is not animal. Would not throw you in ocean like Exodia.
Thank you.
If I may, I was wondering. Is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Ha!
Sato, do you understand that?
Sounded like da.
Which means yes.
I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. One of the two. It could have also been ha.
Genius.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, sounds like there's someone in next door cabin at least.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi?
His name is Mr. Grimsley Roylott. Very important person, Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy.
How can you be so sure about that?
Ha! Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East islands.
You know that includes you, right? Like, Russia is Far East.
That was harsh.
Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard?
That is not your business. Also, I have no idea.
Come on, think of it. Even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there.
It's not an island, no. It's part of a bigger continent, but it is Far East. You do have a point, though. It's not an island. He was only judging us for being an island. Rude. Probably insults Hawaiians, too. If he even knows they exist. Not entirely sure what point and time this is. And insignificant, yes. Reese Lane, are you an island? Are you is land? Presumably, since this gentleman's occupying one of the first-class cabins. He must be rather important, is that right?
That is not your business. But yes.
You and watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff?
Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Hey,
Sasato-san, do you understand that? It was clearly
a frozen. Hang on. Okay. The OBS froze for a second, but I'm back.
It was clearly a no!
I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all.
You didn't hear any strange noises? Or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no!
Sorry, I mean you didn't say no, but... Not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there.
Is he scared of mice?
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh.
Time for me to report to cabin. You must return to cabin.
Yeah, alright.
Bulkhead to second-class area is locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of mountain, or as English say, when pigs fly.
Do lobsters whistle on top of the mountains? Would they make it that far?
Yeah, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate the area properly, shall we?
Definitely.
Just ignore everything he said.
That book on top of the table there is really huge. There's a pen with it, too.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the ship's log.
Yeah, we have a little look through it?
Well, wait, how would I hold this? I'm in cuffs. The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. Lobsters lack the whistle factories. Are there factories for whistles?
Wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting.
Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably that means there was nothing to report.
Okay. No, we can't look at the horn?
Let's get a map. Looks like a plan of the SS Buria. Shows each deck, too.
The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering.
That's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean?
Now we're getting to the real mystery of the world. Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo.
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese archipelago.
The islands of Japan.
Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose so.
Wait, she didn't explain it. I wanted a science lesson. Rude. Some kind of alarm?
What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it?
This is the emergency alarm. Probably best not to touch it.
Oh, an alarm.
It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship. Shouldn't it be in Russian? Looks as though it sets alarm, it brings the vessel to a complete stop.
Oh, this I have to see.
What are you doing, Naruhodo? You must not touch it.
But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs.
You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring the vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation.
I wish everything would just stop.
The ship included. You have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Those are words to live by. Trap for catching mice.
Yeah, we have plenty of those back home in Japan.
Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. Made from the milk of cows.
Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like.
How do you not know what cheese is? Do they not have cheese in Japan? I mean, I know they don't have that many fields, and most of the ones they have are for rice, but you know, I can't actually think of an anime or anything that had cows. Like, yeah, I guess they wouldn't have had cheese or cows over there, so they wouldn't have any milk. Huh. Or if they had milk, it would have been something else, and they wouldn't have thought of making cheese with it.
Do they have butter?
Like, did they know how to churn butter during this era? Man, Maya would have hated being in this place during this time period. No cheeseburgers? Her whole stomach, she has a whole stomach dedicated for cheeseburgers, and they wouldn't have cheeseburgers in this era. True. The entire process of making cheese is extremely weird and convoluted. I remember thinking the same thing when I was doing my cheese research in high school. But I don't remember the details, because that was a long time ago. And like the process for making different types of cheese is even weirder. Like the more you go down the cheese line, the weirder it gets. Especially when you get to like blue cheese, and it's like, let's just have this cheese mold. And then like scrape off the bad parts. You can't eat it, Naruhodo. The trap will snap shut on your fingers.
Really? But, I suppose you're right.
You weren't actually going to try it, were you?
All I've had to eat for the past couple weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe.
Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. Hopefully it won't be poisoned.
This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Why are we standing on the opposite side of the area if this is the cabin that we were beside?
Yes, the ventilator, which Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whoever's in that cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask.
Knock, knock. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries.
How annoying.
Where did Herlocked go?
What was that? Came from inside the cabin.
Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman.
Stand aside! I'm about to break the door down.
I figured you were the cause of the scream.
Ah, I see you missed,
the last episode, Reslane? Well, we're on a boat. We were a stowaway in Kazuma's, which is our friend from the tutorial. We were stowing away inside his wardrobe because he wanted us to go to England with him, or Britain, whichever. And, he's dead. We don't know why. We're still figuring that out. I never said to not watch it. I mean, you can if you want. Yeah, we've been framed for murder again because this guy, who is known as Herlocked Sholmes, used his magical X-ray glasses to see that we were stuck in the wardrobe. Based on how this thing was introduced, it might have been a snake. Someone might have had a pet snake and it came down and bit him. But I don't know, that seems pretty random. I don't know what you're referring to. I genuinely do not remember ever saying you shouldn't watch that. I probably thought you meant the... Oh, I thought you were talking about Donkey Kong. Because you were saying that I died 24 times. And I was like, no, that was all in the original Donkey Kong. Yeah, this is also case 2, so chances are things are still pretty obvious, as they were in the tutorial. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges.
Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. Door doesn't appear to be bolted.
Oh, it doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick?
I think we should go in. There's time to think about stress relief.
9th of January, SS Bria, first class, cabin number 2. Ooh, who are you?
Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. Also, how did I get to the opposite side? But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out, all of you! Now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsley Roylott, I believe? Yes, that's me. And you are... I am the one and only, the actual Herlocked Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely.
Man using that magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid.
How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk.
Don't look at me.
Oh my, did you see that, Mr. Naruto?
Yeah, the case just shook.
Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward.
This is Kazuma's neighbor. Mr. Grimsley Roylott.
No doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. Couldn't agree more. Stop reading my mind!
Well, I mean, obviously we have to... Obviously we have to examine this right away. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin! Get out!
Can we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No!
What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed! I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe while resting, or waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service.
Oh.
And it would seem the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
No, you're Sholmes.
Ha ha! Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly hiding something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to using it to Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when his secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh yes, please.
Well then, what you're about to see may as well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hack-eyed portrait of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? Rude? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or the Russian on account of his dubiousness?
I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Sholmes... I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on a first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my fist like this? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Being no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Speak English or Russian. Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you've been discovered. Does it not? Ah, good.
Oh, Naruto, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes.
He barely deducted anything. He just pointed out the obvious.
That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he deduced all there is to know about a person. What? What twaddle? Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlocked Sholmes. Now I've experienced the astonishing impact of the great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the colors drained from Mr. Roylott's face. Looks somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right.
How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Ha! Very well then. I shall elucidate, or whatever. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. But you know, let's not actually do that because we're on a boat, and I don't really want to be on a train and a boat at the same time. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The game is afoot. Why is this a thing? I already know who this guy is. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. Huh? Where did Spotlight come from? Is the enormous pair of shears in your hand? No sea trains. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away that copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question is begs this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed the light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Velin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard that looks nothing like yours. Having noted the article yourself, you decide to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Velin Bolshevik, but you already claimed that I was him. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have propensely let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, the eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies just in the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes, yes, in that traveling case. It is time, I think, the case be opened and its contents be laid bare. No, I refuse! What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd! And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to the life of crime, are we? Your carelessness coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need to follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling cases can be equally found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Thus concludes Herlocked Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma. Elemensky. We couldn't say elementary, that's copyrighted.
Sasato, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow.
Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here for a moment? I would be happy to. And also evaporate this other man. Pray, what can I do for you?
About your deductions, would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we've had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussions earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting a ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear to be too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. No post of this missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lithness to their bodies.
Is he really gonna suggest that she folded herself up? She folded herself up so much that she stuck herself in that tiny case?
Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it'd surely be a simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case.
Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruto, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of a matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Mr. Sasato. Miss Sasato. Just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. I was wondering if he might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure we could do that. We'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction.
Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind, of course. Even though I would assume that I am never wrong.
This man is a lot of work.
At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
I was wondering the same thing. Not that funny.
Ah, and you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists? Where are your handcuffs?
Huh? How? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
I don't believe it.
Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. Your superpower is removing handcuffs without anyone noticing. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished.
I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Herlocked Sholmes is proud to present Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Hold it, Mr. Sholmes.
Look, Mr. Warlord, obviously what catches the eye in the first place. Enormous pair of shears in your hand. And we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? Answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I know that's something I'll ever have to worry about. I'm pretty anime, so I don't really grow facial hair unless I want to. Doesn't sit quite right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting quite with Mr. Roylott either. Means, I suppose, the deduction was wrong. Try to switch a key word here. Naruhodo. See if it helps matters. And maybe it'll steal my dang lines. Alright, but how? By looking long and hard at Mr. Roylott. Wonder if it's really his beard that he intends to use the shears on. Exactly. We do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' seduction better. Then what? Then I'll leave the rest to your capable hands, Naruhodo. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around that last sentence. Next thing, Mr. Roylott, we're gonna use those enormous shears for.
Yeah, I figured. Alright, so I'm gonna throw this out here. But this is the missing ballerina. She stole or took her diamond tiara or whatever and disguised herself like this so she would appear as the revolutionary or just a regular Russian. So that she would not be found out to be escaping the country. And she most likely has some sort of pet inside that box, which is not allowed on the boat. I also have fake news.
Yes! I'm here now. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. I hate this guy. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
You're not a man at all, you're a woman! And judging by the length of the sheen of your hair...
One still very much in her youth.
Oh no, I mean... oh no. Only I had managed to cut my hair. No one would have suspected.
The question being begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. Evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary.
Well, that was a shock. No idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you?
Well, yeah, wasn't it obvious?
What? Why are you staring at me like that?
Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo, you're enjoying this, aren't you?
Sorry?
Look like you're in your element as you dance around the room, deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes.
I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. My friend is dead. Thanks for bringing that up. This is strictly business, not strictly...
Yes, I understand. Say no more.
Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' seduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now.
No, that's true, given that Mr. Roylott's actually a woman. Or Mrs. Roylott?
Exactly. He, or rather, she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary.
That's because the deduction as a whole is taken in a different direction now.
Yeah. Let's switch the evidence for something else, something that fits with the facts we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. Feels as though I've read or heard about a young woman in a situation like this recently. Alright, I'll do my best.
Forget what it actually said. Oh, right. We don't know what it said. Because we can't read... We can't read Russian.
Yes! Evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Here we finally only need to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of the prima ballerina.
Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
Dag!
Oh no, her hat. Oh, I kind of expected it to come off with that, but... The beard was fake! The hat was fake! The mustache was fake!
You're right. My real name is Nina. I mean, Nikolina Pavlova.
She's suddenly much smaller.
But I beg you, please don't tell anyone.
It's like one of those things where you've seen someone with a beard. Like, I don't know, some kind of taco champ. Seen them with a beard for pretty much the entire time you've seen them, and they finally shave. And you're like, who are you? Are you even the same person I've been talking to? Yeah, I have no idea what that said in Russian, so...
Please, I beg of you, don't tell anyone.
Well, why was she on the run? I guess that's the same for some of you guys too, if you were back in the early streams where I had a full beard and mustache. And then I shaved. And I don't regret it. I'd say my only wish now is I wish I could get that laser thing done, where they just burn your face off and make it so you can't grow any more facial hair. That'd be nice. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah! And I assure you the eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies with the furtive glance forward. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case.
This woman's the ballerina, and she's right in front of her eyes. But clearly she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. Unless you count abducting yourself. Which case? What is the crime the young woman was apparently committing? I can see I'm gonna have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. Seem to look pleased, Naruhodo. You like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what the woman's up to.
Wow, like, I mean, literally just like look right around this stupid thing. No, she kidnapped the tiara.
Yes! Proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah, how did you see? It was perfectly behind the chair.
I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the ballet, is it not? In the Nova Ballet. Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you committed is theft. Yes, we are in the examination tutorial rather than the courtroom tutorial, as it was in the first Phoenix Wright game too. You start rescuing Larry. Also, I really hope we don't run into a Larry. Just had the thought we might run into Larry's ancestor. Oh no! Yes, you left your ballet troupe and unlawfully taking the precious tiara with you. Dog! I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me.
This girl's only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. Must have been extremely lonely.
Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point in hiding it now.
Come, let us not be so hasty.
What?
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. Is it reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish to have it remain closed? Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we're not well suited for the life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'eil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the books of that shelf. That's a new one.
Completely changed tact with the deduction now. Thinks Mr. Sholmes is adapting the logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Just a wild guess, surely.
Oh, do you think so?
Well, it doesn't seem likely the reason why the young woman doesn't want to open her case. I've been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her.
Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself.
Has to be another reason why she won't open her case. Must be somewhere in the same area if that's where her gaze involuntarily was drawn.
I agree, that's the only answer.
Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase.
Rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bruya. Not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Frankly, the same notice in our cabin too. What happens if you break the rules?
Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo. Probably be left adrift in the freezing cold ocean, or shut inside a teeny wardrobe for days on end.
So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I?
But yeah, it'd be that.
Yes!
She has a pet in her case. Possibly a mouse.
Reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the rules of passage, which is written in Russian, and I really shouldn't be able to read it, but we're gonna ignore that part. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects inside their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from the carriage of this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents.
As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon other than dangerous item will move on its own accord.
Not entirely true. I think a chainsaw would probably move on its own accord after it's on. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item in the Forbidden Vessel's rules of passage, a pet. Da! They said it at the same time, so I didn't know how to say it. But yes, they are enjoying dancing around with each other. I'm not sure how Kazuma would feel about all this, though. Elementary, my dear Ryu.
But clearly you weren't who you said you were.
No, I am not Grimsy Royla.
I do like her earring.
My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you've said is correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel.
Which couldn't have been easy. Roy is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Would you really have stuck on board without being noticed?
In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. You intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. You could also just, put it in your giant hat.
So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin?
That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally.
More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me.
I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself? So none would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. Nah. I put on the fur hat and the fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and
at that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Annoying because I really wanted to kick that thing down.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that from time to time.
Are those two even talking about the same thing?
There's one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You were right, it is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone if Captain finds out. If you say to any of the crew.
Your secret's safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night.
The events of last night? Yes, alright. I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something Mr. Sholm's great deduction?
It was certainly something, yeah. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible.
Indeed, it is incredible, as am I. Herlocked Sholmes. And one more thing.
Oh yeah? What?
Observe your wrists. Look at your wrists. Now back to me. You're now in cuffs once more.
Your hands are cuffed again.
This is also they don't have to animate him dancing around with cuffs.
What? But how?
True to my word, I've restored your shackles.
When? And why?
Still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry to say, can't be helped at the moment.
Can it? Really?
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma wrote about in his diary really was.
You know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night?
One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast.
The man who died, he was a friend of mine.
Oh,
That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night?
perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example? Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded.
Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that happened.
Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I can think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that would happen around me.
Oh, I see. You've ran away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Nova Ballet?
Da. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget a challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Nova Ballet gives us only little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I had stayed, it would have killed me.
So you ran away to protect yourself?
Yes, and the crew of the ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board and they said I could hide in this cabin.
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo?
Me? Oh, well, yeah, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. What conundrum? I'm not sure, but...
Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle.
I do not like riddles, but yes.
According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Boreas stopped by no port last night.
Ah, that's it, of course.
So how is it, pray, that you came to be on board?
Now that I think about it, crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked him about when the occupant on this cabin came on board.
That is not your business. That is what he said.
I mean, that's what he said.
Yeah, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something.
An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage.
Sorry? What was that?
It is how Russian newspapers describe one of my performances. And that is how I came here, too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel.
Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid.
Mr. Sholmes once said, I've never can resist the touch of dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same. And Brilly can't talk.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. I quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlocked Sholmes, in fact.
Yeah, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova's gonna tell us what really happened.
I assume she flew here. Somehow.
The friend you mentioned inside your traveling case, is that right?
I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew if they found my precious.
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt.
So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes.
But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? Is it? It is, isn't it?
Maybe an adorable little rabbit?
No.
Ah, you credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may as well ask. I have no idea. Does Russia have rabbits? I think they have snow bunnies. But I don't actually know how many animals are in Russia, only that it's very cold. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken!
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversary strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. Don't be this guy's friend. He will eat you. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Ha ha! It's not a bird, though. Obviously, he doesn't quite trust us yet. Something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. This is the diary of my friend who passed away.
His diary?
Yeah, and he wrote it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
A speckled band? I don't understand.
It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentioned joins to the cabin. This cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall.
In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh! Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps?
Also, 1 second. Sorry, this chair was eating me. I need to invest in getting a new chair, I guess. Wonder how much of a pain it would be to get it over here. Anywho.
No, I don't know anything.
And then the guard comes in, and he's like, "What are you doing in this cabin?" "Excuse me, Mr. Roylott."
Yes, but
"Yes, what?" "Wow, she's fast. Why does she have the scissors still?" "Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please." "Alright, I will come now." And where'd she get the fake nose? I assume the nose is attached to the mustache. "What? You must leave. Now." "Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us." "Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott." "Get out! The passenger said out. Or do you want me to throw you out?" Looks like we'll have to leave it investigating this cabin until later.
what a pity.
Oh, the tiara's gone too. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown to the passageway outside. To be continued. I wonder if we're gonna have a courtroom case on the boat.
Would that even work?
I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that, and if it had been animated, that would have been fun.
I wish you managed to find some clues of what that speckled band might be.
We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door.
He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go?
Oh yes, he's completely disappeared.
When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. He's magic.
He probably hid himself in the wardrobe, if I had to guess. It wasn't on camera, so I didn't really get to see if it was closed or not. Can we talk to the guy?
Really wish we had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin.
You look in there, I break neck. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Hmm? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, hmm?
Oh, no, definitely not that.
Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand?
Understand.
Not really. I don't know where lobsters spend winter.
Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. Or put on a beard.
I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo.
Why not? First class cabin number 1. Yeah, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin, it's Kazuma's cabin.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe beside the cabin.
You know how to make stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, wonder if Inspector Hozanaga's managed to uncover any new clues.
Yes, well, it's him, so probably not. But we should probably find him and ask.
Is he still here?
Looks like they're still investigating in here.
Yes, on that subject. Wonder if Inspector Hozanaga's unscathed.
What do you mean, unscathed?
Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. Said he'd lay his life on the line for you.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself, if he's even here. He even needs some new information for us. You never know.
I want to see a lobster ski resort. Oh, there he is. Talk to this guy first. Nah, let's talk to him. Oh no. He's been bruised. Ah, you're back.
Inspector!
What happened to you? Your face is...
Please, don't worry about it. I'll wipe it away in just a second. They're just scratches. 'Tis but a scratch.
Made by a bear, maybe.
When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummeled me with his fists and then tossed me overboard.
What?
But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. Though it was nothing, really.
Looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to.
Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little more about this neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh!
I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlocked Sholmes? I don't think he was German, though.
Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We'll tell you what we found out.
Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door?
Oh, do you know who she is?
Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel?
Oops, I think I upset him there.
Do any of you know who she is? Is she based off a real person? Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. I don't know about that. Oh? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? They do. In fact, one is pretty famous for committing, like, the ultimate crime. And yeah, we didn't keep that secret long at all. Please don't tell anyone. Alright. Hey, guys! Do you know there's a ballet girl here? Although, honestly, I'm surprised he didn't know about it. He's undercover as an agent here. And I kind of figured that all the crewmates knew about her being in that cabin. The big one outside definitely did.
Oops, now I've definitely upset him.
Inspector,
Interesting. Is she a real ballet dancer? First ballerina to tour around the world. Yeah, that must be who she's based off of. Well, neat. I guess Reese Lane is the biggest ballet fan here.
your investigation proved fruitful.
I'm afraid the only fruit that showed up was a plummeling. If I'm honest, there's very little much more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene wasn't disturbed, ready to hand over the Hong Kong police. Why are we going to the Hong Kong police? I thought we were going to Britain. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying to take my eyes off the job. Or eye.
Oh, I see.
Ah, there is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you.
Oh, what?
Do tell us, Inspector, please.
What's this new information you have, Inspector?
It's this. Maria's medical officer has finished an examination of the body. I managed to obtain a report.
Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report?
Yeah, about that. He's still alive.
So, what was the cause of death?
Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
His neck was broken?
Yes, it would seem so. No obvious wounds other than other signs of injury. So at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all.
Well, what weapon was used then?
Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object. Something that wouldn't leave a mark. Like some sort of statue, perhaps of a man who could think? Although a clock would also work.
All the body's nerves run through the spine of the brain. Strong enough impact to the neck would induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left.
Poor Kazuma.
I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes, it's fine. I trust you.
Oh.
After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I?
I mean... Yeah, I guess.
Post-mortem reports have been entered into your court record. Yeah, or a giant Russian fist. That also counts as a blunt object. And I was gonna say they probably don't have any processes for identifying fingerprints, but Sholmes definitely does. With his stupid magic detective gun.
Oh, so Mr. Sholmes was here, was he?
Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. And then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored.
Did he say anything at all?
Ugh. Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted. It's shoe polish, was all he said.
Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant.
When he was over there, by the piece of broken glass, do you see?
As he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think?
Ah, yeah, that must be it.
So that's probably what was used as the murder weapon, I would guess. Yeah, kicking someone in the neck would also do it.
And how could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish?
That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea.
What is it, Susaru? Well, Kazuma was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue.
Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red, then?
Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. Yet darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh, does this mean this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes they scuffed on the floor?
He would have had to have done that pretty hard. Although, based on how everything was disorganized on the bookshelf... We need more clues. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. Also, there's another guy here. I should return to my post. My fellow crewman's eyes are boring into the back of my head.
Yeah, that might be for the best, thank you.
Poor Inspector, you look exhausted. And purple.
Oh, no, well... I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. Truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning.
A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing, too.
You! Where did you go?
Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate.
Why? Who gave you permission for this?
Well, Inspect Seaman Hosanaga did.
Poof, that new Japanese, was it? Later I will roll him into ball and throw him in cold room.
Ew, he's gone back to guarding the door.
Hope Inspector Hosanaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account.
Really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? Get back to Japan, we'll have to take him out for a steak at La Carnival.
That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo. Also, he's the waiter there. So he'd have to bring out his own food. And that wouldn't be very nice.
Rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria.
Must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden, we've seen this.
Bringing your pet on board, Miss Pavlova's broken the rules.
She called it her friend, didn't she?
Yeah, although we don't know what form this friend takes as of yet.
Almost certain that whatever it is inside the traveling case in her cabin.
A friend. More of this than it seems, I think. All the books provided to the passengers were occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf.
They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember.
Oh yeah, and you tidied them up, didn't you?
You have to look after the ships properly. Unruly behavior in the cabin leads to damage, such as dead bodies.
Really wasn't me who knocked them over.
Anyway, I feel much better now they're neatly lined up. I
I can't relax when things are untidy. I mean, I assume that means she's not really relaxing here. Clearly these letters are written with the ink that was somehow spilled on the floor. They spell a Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be an ambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, and one fact remains. Hard to imagine that Kazuma would have written his last words or word in Russian. Begs the question, who did write it? Where Kazuma spent his final moments writing in his diary. 1:23 a.m. Hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound. I think they're writing it here on this page. It's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. I have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo. Yes, that's right. Just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. A speckled band, as he described it. Only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are. Yeah, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people on board say the same about me, but something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Now. Look, Naruhodo! Seaman Stroganoff is gone! Strong enough? The burly Russian sailor is always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Ugh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? Sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-li-la-la-la, I did the great detective way. This caroling, I know that lark-like voice. Never mind that now, it's a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right, we must seize it. Definitely, before that stringy knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganoff, not stringy knot. She took her pet. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Desato, oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. Not a moment to waste, Naruhodo. Let's investigate as quickly as we can. Oh no! There are cats flying from the sky and hitting the boat! Hello, Random. Hope you're having a good day. We're not stabbing anyone. Although someone did have scissors. I suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Not just for Kazuma. What do you mean? Can't be long now till we arrive at port in Hong Kong. Why are we going to Hong Kong? I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? Let's solve this case, Naruhodo. By ourselves if we have to. Yeah, we will. The first thing I want to note is this. All the books have toppled over together, look! Every single one! Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. Exactly the same as the bookcase next door, in Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase?
I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company?
Alright then. Must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them over in a fit of rage?
Not everything bad happens on the ship is because of me, you know. Also, I wasn't in the other cabin.
Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again there, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray.
This entire boat is in disarray.
Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open.
Completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, he was hiding a special friend in there.
Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret.
And you're allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. Wonder what kind of animal she had in there. More to the point, where is it now?
I wonder what this little saucer's doing on the floor.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately.
Do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here?
What? A leak?
Is this ship quite safe?
I'm sure if even there's a little leak in the roof doesn't mean the whole ship's going to sink.
No, you're right. Of course you're right.
She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she?
A candle?
Seeing this teapot is empty.
So natural conclusion that the Russians are very thirsty people.
Or because Miss Pavlova only came to his cabin last night and she hasn't had a chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either.
Definitely think they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it.
You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo?
That does describe him pretty well.
Few books on the desk, nothing else by the looks of it.
Well, Miss Pavlova ran away from the ballet last night. She probably hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all.
That's true. Wonder what kind of books she likes to read.
Let me see. Yes, I see. It seems that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian.
Thanks. I think I probably already knew that.
It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo. Kindly remember that.
Uh-huh.
Suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket.
Now we have a look and see what's been thrown away?
Naruhodo! Poor etiquette to go sniffing through someone's rubbish, you know.
Ugh, those eyes. Looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now.
However, these are special circumstances, I think.
Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all.
Oh, well, that's a little disappointing.
Figured we might find the pet in there, but I guess not.
Naruhodo, are you in here?
Sorry, I'm right here, yes, why?
Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home.
Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know.
That would give you a good character trait, though. Anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes.
I was rather hoping I might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck.
Yeah, this is not Narnia. It's Naruhodo.
One next to the bed in Cosmo's cabin, too.
Yes, it's a bell cord. Can't resist.
Barely hesitated there. She gave it a good tug, too.
No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come.
You don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret.
Oh, yeah.
This ventilator connects to Cosmo's cabin next door.
Yeah, although what a fool shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator to another room.
Ah, maybe. So if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant in this cabin would notice and raise the alarm.
Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning.
That's a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. Well, what else is there to search? This thing, I guess. Oh yeah, they're displayed in cabin 2. Look, SS Boya's rules of passage. Blah 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 blah.
Suppose Miss Pavla realized she needed to keep her constant of a case a secret after she read this.
Her special friend, I mean. Wonder where her friends disappeared to now. Probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine.
I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard.
Oh yeah, so do I guess. Nothing else really in here. Hope it didn't attack the mousetrap. No, it looks to be the same. Oh, here's this guy, I guess.
Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes!
Look. Wow, you never know where he's gonna turn up next, do ya?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
Tra-la-la-loo-lay, I did it the great detective way. Still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply extremely in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky Herlocked was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and I stood tall. I did the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Back! What is it? You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now was as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you on the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away?
Mr. Sholmes, I need to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log, as penned in by that stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log. I couldn't tell you, Random. I can't say there's any name I've ever heard that was similar to his. Like, who would go by the name Herlocked? Ugh. Did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... Ah, you truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it.
Sorry?
Your logic, my boy, is inverted. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. Seem the same crewman of its stands in sentry in the first-class passageway. And he has almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour.
Oh, he writes that every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report.
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that.
And yet,
the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report.
do you mean...
Yes, there was circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log into your mental log file.
Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective.
Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. That's what makes Sholmes Sholmes.
brilliance. Ha ha! Ha ha! Oof. Ouch.
What is it? Are you hurt?
Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter.
Still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway.
The detective way.
Something wrong, Sasato? Seeing me lost in thought.
It's just... well, I feel the same.
Sorry?
Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too?
And Hosonaga, and Sholmes, and... well, Kazuma probably had a throbbing in his head. At least for a little bit.
That door leads to the second class area.
It's locked. I can't open it.
No, well... that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape.
Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that.
Probably not gonna happen. That does stand to reason, but I can't imagine they would kill him over that.
Really is such a beautiful color, this glass.
Looks like whatever it was is broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. There's a brick-colored mark. Which is shoe polish, according to the great detective you seem to know all about.
I suppose it must be from Kazuma's shoes. Maybe, but I'd like to know is...
how could the detective be so sure it's shoe polish and not something else?
because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly a reason, is it?
You, where did you go? I mean, possibly, but I don't think they know that she's violating the rules. Right? Or at least there's no implication that he knows about her friend yet. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling! Shut down the engine immediately. Vessel size a quarter-mile forward. Full stop. Hard starboard. All hands. Brace for impact.
What the?
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
What? Sanu! Hang on to me! Wah!
Random, how could you summon ships from the sky?
Sasato, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine, thank you, Naruhodo.
Looks like we avoided a collision.
I think.
The ship's come to a stop.
Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine.
Hello, is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga.
Is that you in here, Naruto? Unbolt the door, quickly.
What? The bolt?
So if the bolt is... And the things fell over again, so that means it's not a locked room case. Interesting.
The door is bolted! Did you do that, Sasato?
No, I didn't touch it.
That's strange. How did...
You probably missed us walking in here. I walked in here after we talked to the inspector.
And look at the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruto, aren't you going to open the door and let Inspector in?
I better tidy this place up first.
Why?
Our violent emergency stopped and solved one mystery, at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of this cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried to tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart.
Wow, to be continued already? That was pretty short. The case is solved thanks to great Detective Flamerai.
Keep it to yourself.
It's probably more amusing to watch me struggle.
Somehow the door of the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Masato took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. And there they all were.
You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good.
Yeah, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? Heard something about how we were gonna collide with another ship.
Ah, yes. It appears to have been a false report, though.
Oh, how'd that happen?
There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. Person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crews running everywhere. Man is dead. First class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. You'll just have to take our word for it.
Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean someone pressed that button outside?
You wicked intruder! Dressed in all black, you are the devil!
Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first.
You opened my traveling case, how could you?
What? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector!
Yes? How did you know I was an inspector?
Arrest this man, I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough he has killed a man.
Da! He is a stowaway as well. If Vixen promised to not steal chicken, do you believe? Also, when did she lose her beard?
Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else.
Storing away, trespassing, killing! Shuri is right, you are devil.
Doesn't look good, does it?
There's a cell below deck, throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Hong Kong Fui. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell?
Please, Inspector Hosonaga, there's nothing you can do.
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible.
This is a real crisis. I gotta find a solution. Immediately! Keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating.
Do not touch my things.
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates?
Yeah.
Why did you flip me? Listen, Artie, what do you think you're doing?
Wow, everyone's attacking me. And I was just starting to think she was my friend.
Oof. All I was doing is look at the vent.
Miss Pavlova, can I...
Get out!
Listen, I'm sorry that we stuck in here without your permission, but...
Get out! No!
We just need to investigate in here to help understand what happened to... Ugh, it's no use. She's not gonna listen. I need to find someone who will.
Well, I don't think there's anyone in this room that would actually listen to me. Yep, definitely no one in this room at all that could possibly help me with anything in relation to this case. Definitely no one around that's just hanging around and being useful for a change. Yep, can't think of anyone I'd want to talk to. What are we gonna do? About that coat? Now, last time I looked at this, I got flipped. Yeah, I could disguise myself with this coat. You're right. Maybe they'll think I'm some great detective or something.
What the... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes?
Ha ha! I've got the tiara! Naturally, I was analyzing the weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it's my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh no.
Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then?
Isn't it obvious to properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles? Naturally. I wish to determine if it would been that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce.
Never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, might you try looking somewhere other than the hook on the wall next time? What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night here on the vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved by me, Flamerai! Naturally.
What?
Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So allow me to illuminate all of your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the great case. Ha! You have solved it? Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who was responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway. He has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it. Also, handcuffs don't prove I did it. They were just prove I was caught.
Trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. As everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what they call a locked room mysteries detective stories. Da, locked room, that is point. The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that, but... No way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin, except by the power of gravity.
You're quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We've never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man! The ventilator? Yeah, you think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. You know, I believe him. I don't think he could fit a finger through there.
That's because your arms are as thick as a tree trunk.
You're suggesting the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma wrote in his diary? I can hear a faint whistling sound. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill?
Precisely, my dear madam. But what does that mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold!
What the?
It's a sneak. Da, I found sneak. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band.
A snake?
Indubitably.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Hmm?
Yes, you're right. In this case, you'd have to call it... the striped band. Wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly?
I think perhaps this time I explained the intricacies of my train of thought.
We're on a boat, though.
Shut up. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
Two conclusions I've drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin.
Ah,
And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
no.
Turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Holmes must be right. He hit the nail on the head.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. You know, I speak in snake tongue.
Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. Although the snake looks pretty comfortable.
I would advise a little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Herlocked Sholmes is proud to present the Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Oh, this again. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is your very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what is the nature of this intruder that stole the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected. Another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in quandary. The victim's written observation on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, This specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. It has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does! You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your thin, speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it slew the skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it appears that there are no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm the scene of the crime. No, this man is not correct. In fact, he already knows he's wrong, so I'm not sure why he's going on with this. Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of a snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. Yeah, the snake is responsible, but he's not the reason this happened. He's not the killer.
This makes no sense. There is no snake marks.
No point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabinet, it came to my attention that it moved periodically, much like a table. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't.
Apparently, the victim made a note of a low whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
To train? But we are on board.
Indeed, you put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. The victim appeared to not have been dispatched. You released the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It is not true.
Having slid it through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only sink its fangs in once. And its venom would, of course, go through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is invaluable. Even though, like, almost all of that was wrong. Thus concludes Herlock Sholm's great deduction of the speckled band. Ah, man was crazy. We throw him in cell, right? Everyone agreed? Miss Pavlova's trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe the saucer of milk. The purpose of food is the key to training any creature.
Incredible! You've solved the mystery!
Amazing! Your great deduction really lives up to its name. See how why Herlocked Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. But do not say these things.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just, about your deductions before, some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and I will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk.
Ah,
It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So I'm not sure it'd be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
no matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there's something else, of course. Snakes have no ears.
That is notable, yeah. Ah,
Yes, so I'm not sure it'd really be possible to signal a snake by whistling.
but madam, what of tales of Arabia? Have you not heard of snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept to be practically useless.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
It's not their fault they were born without anything.
There's one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. I mean, all those things are correct, I guess. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into great ones they ought to be. If snakes can hear sounds, they just don't... Yeah, they're just tiny holes in the side of their head. But they're not deaf, they just don't hear sounds like we do. I had a feeling that was coming. I was just playing along so I wouldn't have to do this. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What? You've done it again! Handcuffs are gone! Where did they go?
Haha, fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done.
I really wish you'd leave them off.
Now everyone, let us begin. Herlocked Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
I will say that chances are they didn't know that stuff about snakes back then. Because, you know, there wasn't really a large scale exchange of information yet. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Where'd her hat go? She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. Looks as though Kazuma's death was weighing on heavily on her mind. I'm not sure Mr. Sholmes has read it quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then? Let's take a moment. Really look closely at Miss Pavlova. Naruhodo, look! Looks like a very painful wound. Looks like a scratch, maybe it's some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratch doesn't appear to be around here. Yes! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, the claw scratch starts with pain. Indeed, and a simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah! How do you know? When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. As that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what is the nature of the intruder that stole the victim's cabin that Corinthians night? Why, naturally, it was the friend in which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. The writhing serpent we see before us. Also, the Russian's little scarf looks like a fish. Russia ping. Look at the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavla's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except snakes don't have claws. They don't even have hands. They don't even have hands or feet in which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? You should follow her gaze, Naruhodo. That's where we'll find the answer. Where is her gaze? It's a little cat. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Must be some Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yeah, that's true. But personally, the little black creature she's holding has caught my eye. Maybe I take a closer look at this. Yes! Without a doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Indeed, yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ag! Why you do this to me? I don't think the snake ate the cat. For one, the snake seems very well behaved, you know? The only thing he snapped at is Sholmes, and you know, that's fair. Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observation that on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? Hello, Mimikyu. Hope you're having a good day. No, don't look at me. Nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to that quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's slough skin. Which is obviously wrong. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yeah, ploys like that are Mr. Sholmes' specialty. He ever so clearly forced her to reveal something. I thought the deduction was his specialty. Maybe making me believe that was his ploy too. Anyway, I found it hard to believe that the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back?
Cat toy? Left ear. Right ear. Why is that a thing we can point at? I want to look at the little. It's like a cat toy, I think, but.
Well, it's a speckled and it's a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And it looks like a handle on one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. Sort of common in the West, apparently. How's that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You don't need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it. Heh, sounds positively adorable. Yes!
Yes!
Yes, the thing you're trying, but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy.
Precisely, in the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. Yeah, that is definitely way too fuzzy to be snakeskin. It was this toy you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it.
But why? For what reason?
My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator to the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return.
Ah!
In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a lightsome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka.
Ag, how you do this to me?
A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You'll forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty.
A beloved kitten. But where did the snake come from? Moving on, we are at the heart of the matter, the grim demise of our victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there was no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There are no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma's body. That's right, but he's the one who told us that it wasn't venom. Oh wait, no, that was Hosonaga. Mr. Sholmes to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Let's give him the information he's missing now. Yes!
Cat venom. Yes, from the sounds of it, from what we've seen overall, it seems that someone drugged the food in order for us to make a sudden stop in order to pick her up. So based on that information, we don't exactly know what caused him to die yet, but it seems that something happened due to the sudden stop. I mean, it could have just been an accident. He could have just broken his neck from the sudden stop. But I don't know.
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Ah, yes, I knew there was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only a Goliath would be strong enough to survive that.
Seaman strong enough isn't some kind of immortal freak, you know.
First time we've seen that expression outside the courtroom. Of course, I mean, we haven't really seen his face. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be...
Yes, an examination of the deceased bodies will prove the cause of death conclusively.
Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something. Or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon's been found, though.
Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. That'd be one strong kitten.
I suppose. Possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. That could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yeah, a bad fall could explain it.
Rather hard to believe of Kazuma, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Yeah, well, we need to fix this seduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Only the shoe polish is really nearby.
Yes!
Yes, examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish.
And the collar of the polish is the perfect match to the collar of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi, who I apparently am addressing formally instead of just saying Kazuma, must have caught his foot at the point in the floor and tripped. Please no.
And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. I already questioned that, Mimikyu. I don't know. Our detective skills aren't good enough to see where the spotlight comes from. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life?
Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that leads to the victim's death in that traveling case. Did we just correct him from the get-go?
I don't believe it. Kazuma merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
Yeah. Humans are notoriously fragile yet sturdy creatures.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark of the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But
And if this is part of Mr. Sholmes' seduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin. Somewhere in the direction she just cast her eyes.
where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. My answer must be somewhere.
In the basket?
This is a waste paper basket. First class cabins have them.
We didn't look inside it earlier. Or at least we tried to, and he was like, there's nothing in here.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night.
Yeah, I wanted this mini game they have to include using his silly gun. Which it might later. Because they showed us his x-ray glasses and his fingerprint gun.
Presumably there's not much rubbish in here yet. And yet... Oh, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than just your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes! That's right, you hid evidence that linked you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket.
Ah!
Here we have a fragment of an intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. It's a cat bell.
Precisely, we found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no! Wait, how did you take that from the other side if you weren't allowed to mess with the crime scene?
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that a part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't...
I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah. Evidence linking Miss Pavlova to the glass bell, that would be... Yes! If you look at this photograph, you'll laugh, and you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of
that fateful stumble?
Snip, snip. Your absent feline friend, Darka. It's true, you can't stab a cloud. I've tried.
I do not know what you're talking about. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat. I mean, that is a catastrophe that Kazuma died in such a stupid way.
Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. But it doesn't explain where the snake came from and why everyone had eaten drugged food.
She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that's how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it?
Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed to have Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at that point, you thought it safe to lure the kitten back again. By dangling the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She did not return.
The faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet.
Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she calmed down. But then...
Meow!
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then, oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was...
From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. Burry is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of the unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. Which means it's the captain's fault for stopping us for stupid reasons. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Darka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is insufferably restless as I am.
Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that young man in the cabin next to mine had died, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake?
You're right, where is it?
If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where did it come from? What is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship?
Oh, didn't I say? Snake is my friend. His name is Perozuk.
Yeah.
That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yeah, how'd that snake get into this cabin?
But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands?
Wouldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
Ah, but my dear burly fellow. A gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Pirlo does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny. It does not seem to have any teeth. It's venomless? Now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Ha! Like they say, milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Pirlo eats mouses. Big fat round mouses.
So... Is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now.
It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a bellicord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It is not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirlo has nothing to do with this incident.
Yeah. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death? Now, there's still some missing parts here, but... And also, we're still missing a cat.
Miss Pavlova, I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize, but please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then... No matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But,
What are you talking about, Miss Mikitoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes.
Does Naruhodo not get anything? Okay.
I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Maybe get some sort of professor involved with a certain top hat.
Oh!
I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
Do hope you've been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
I didn't even know they were there. Not again. When did you do that?
Especially as they're on your wrist as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours, was he not?
Yeah. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, whatever that may be. Key to this in the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear.
Shouldn't his band be over his hair? We've never seen the back of his head like that, I don't think. Also, he's totally blinking. Why did they animate him blinking for a back shot?
Truth about how you really died, about the scene your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do.
And you'll do so after these messages. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin?
Yeah!
What we should ponder first.
is the victim who lost his life in the cabin was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident, or was in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Hold it! Oh, why are you yelling at me? Wait, let's take a step back. Doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I don't follow. I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. I'm a little woozy from being punched in the face. Yeah, it's starting to take shape now, in the shape of a bell. It's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. Evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruto. Time to present the evidence. Evidence that proves unequivocally the victim's death was no mere accident. Yeah, he wrote this in Russian. That's the only thing I can really think of. Yeah, well, honestly, I could say that he probably could write Russian. He was pretty smart. But I don't think he would, is the bigger issue. But let me think. Wouldn't be that, wouldn't be that. The only other thing I could think of as a possible thing is that he was writing, you know? He was writing whenever they were doing stuff. Or like when he fell over, assumingly. But I don't know. No, I guess it would have to be that he was. Like, why would he write Russian? You know? Oh well, if I have 5 chances, chances are we're probably right.
Yes!
Truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. Yeah, I am overthinking it. I tend to do that. No way that Mr. Asogi, who's... I don't like that he keeps swapping names, could have left this message on the floor. A script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem likely. Actually, not the point. Makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. The reason why is clearly explained here. Damage to this vertebrae. Damage to the vertebrae, resulting in a death. Instant death. Instant death. Ah. Which means after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything, because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Why are you calling him that?
Remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there if Miss Pavlova told us the truth.
What?
I was going to notice it too then. It's a shame the player hasn't. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's one thing else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves there's no accident. In other words...
I think I know what they want me to say, but I'm not sure which one of these says it. Let's see, spied a speckled band. Would that have been? No, I guess what they're looking for here is how did she get half of the glass back? Or the bell back? I think. I don't know.
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark of the floor. Well, that's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. Broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. We already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? It's really what happened. Yeah, how did the other one... How'd half the bell end up back here in this cabin? Ah, that's... Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass in the waste paper basket. Do you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Astogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Someone else present in Mr. Astogi.
Hold it!
Hold it, you're wasting time. Someone else was there at dawn, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes, of course. The only person in the cabin when the young student died was you.
Yes!
Yeah. It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. No way I could have left that message. Not would have, there's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my good dear fellow. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. The person in question wrote the word wardrobe and rushed it on the floor. An attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen on the floor for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yeah, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the teeny item. You all suspect me, don't you?
Hold it!
Hold it. Snake is gone. Seaman strong enough. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago they noticed her dancing skills and she went to join the ballet company. But before, she was a dancer on this ship. A member of the ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it.
You say when young student died, Nina was there in cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is all most interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You're a great detective, you should know. Look, truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go in the cabinet. Not Nina, not anyone. You want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet! It's impossible. Sadly, we have dealt with that before, but...
Yeah, he's right.
But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie the head around the door latches so they can open and close them from outside.
Red? Are you stupid? Bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight, no threads or needles or magnets or cats could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruto suggested it earlier, so...
Sato, how could you shift onto me like that? Shifting the blame.
So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the inside. Not necessarily. What? I put to you that it could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it.
I can't help but wonder if maybe Sholmes was just playing with us this entire time. Because after he was like, oh, you're just a distraction, he's been very competent. I don't know how I feel about that.
And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruto, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
The way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yeah?
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes mean, Mr. Naruto?
Yeah, and so should you, because we've seen it happen. It literally just happened.
Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruto? Point out the telling signs of the method used to slide the cabin door bolt from the outside. I guess the bookcase. I can't point at the alarm here.
Yes! Look at the bookcase there. See how the books and things have been toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. Very powerful vessel, after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. Seems like a bad way to design the ship to not have something hold those down if they're in every cabin.
I believe, yes, that's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on objects.
Also, you can tell they flipped her model there because she pulled that book out of the opposite hand. It usually goes in the other sleeve, I think.
Is there nothing Sasato doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, it's the same force that pushed over the books in this bookcase. Also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We'd come to this cabin not long before and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello, is anyone there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga?
Oh yes, that's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yeah, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that.
Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed, that would also explain why so many things are on the floor. Although it's weird that his sword didn't move. The SS Boya made another emergency stop?
When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked like a little odd. All the books on the shelves toppled over, and all the ornaments. Almost as if someone had ran their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. And I just stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came to this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. You have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of mind? You say Burya made an emergency stop? Does seem a little far-fetched. How could it possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it's simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow crewmen to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. It is true, I pressed button out of curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
Sounds almost proud of himself.
As he should be. Sholmes, get out of my laboratory! What does this button do? How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure that can all wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learnt a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. Burya is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop even in the middle of the night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruto?
Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. You have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? The law.
Yes! Seaman Stroganov, your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right?
That is correct. Why?
In the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties.
What are you doing with that? That is mine! You rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. This is where I put it always.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes, in Russian, which we can't read. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log? That is... because nothing happened.
And if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you?
Well... Oh geez, his arm clipped inside of her. Indeed so, which tells us surely that after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Voyager. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish.
If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh, why?
Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really happened, surely all of us would have noticed. Whoops. I hit the button.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine anyone would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. You know, that's a good point.
What of the throbbing? Sorry? What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Oh, yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. I haven't either, but that might be because of these things on my wrists. My head's been feeling heavy ever since the dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. Can't remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when that was all happening to me?
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry.
Stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Well, Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yeah, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken, which is probably his one character flaw.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No, really? Really true?
The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific? Designed to induce a very deep slumber to those who consumed it. A sleeping drug.
Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruto, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes mean. What a far-fetched idea.
I'm afraid that's exactly what it means. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What?
Mr. Sholmes!
Well, seaman? I know not what you mean. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade.
Please, no more. I will tell everything.
Eh?
I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe?
Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We all wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yeah, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Da, we could not make all drug. How you say, dissolve? Talk about a heavy seasoning.
At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board.
The captain beat Hosonaga. He went and gave us the permission to investigate this cabin, and the captain took offense to that and punched him in the face.
She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers on the SS Boreas slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of a slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained.
So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova.
He's a Russian captain, so I don't think he would care.
And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What?
Of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken on the cabins. After which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite, and accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. The overwhelming majority of passengers would have habitually sleep within their cabin doors bolted anyways, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find their door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door of the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life at last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And that's someone who abused the ship's emergency stop to procedure in order to unlock a door. All told, a busy night.
But I don't know of any of this. I'm just a little girl.
You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. Even though most times it is foggy and we cannot see with eyes, so we rely on our other senses. But that's not important in this case. A laughable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yeah?
Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt in the wind.
What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. I can't read Riesling.
Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruto, your assistance, if you please.
With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes?
With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said. Of these two prevaricators.
Observation? You remember, Mr. Naruto? When someone tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with these scenes of Mr. Hisogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning.
Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died.
Can't actually go down. Chunky arms. It was his hat. Left ear, right ear. Wait, what was that? How do I go down? Darn it, how do I go down? Ink stain?
Oh, look at this! Some kind of stain. An unusual place. Yes, you're right, it looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. Look at the collar, too. It's clear where this came from. Now, if only I could actually look at it.
Yes!
Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Eh? Ah, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It appears the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain, even though we're in the ocean and not in the plains.
Very large purple stain on the back of the Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves the stain on the back of the Stroganoff's uniform really is...
This one, I assume. Nothing else has the ink in it, right? No.
Yes!
Oh, you know what? You're totally right. I was thinking maybe his stupid name is why he has marks on his face, but yeah, the snake constantly binding him is probably what gives him that weird tan.
Yeah, this photograph, it doesn't make me laugh because it's my dead friend. And the ink, it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform.
Ink? A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Dog! Ah, the penny drops. I hope not. That would probably hurt him. At last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink.
And the stain in the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color.
If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin, in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Boreal do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here? But I don't have a penny appreciation. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Nope, wrong one. Dang it, just move the one I'm trying to move. Oh. There. Do not dab for Penny. She hates dabs, obviously. What happened here?
Please, do not tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kitten escaped the ventilator in Mr. Asogi's cabin, then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor?
Yes, that is right. So after the incident with when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlovia visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel?
But how did he know about me? How did he know about Naruhodo?
The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
Congrats on your victory, Mimikyu. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you, when Nina opened door of student's cabin
And looked inside. I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Da. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. He was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last?
Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes?
This photograph, it doesn't make me laugh. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo?
Huh? Oh, I feel like I'm getting a lot of that.
Of course, I figured out the case. Would you mind explaining my case for me?
If he tripped and fell and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph seems unnatural? Well, obviously his finger. His headband isn't flowing in the wind anymore, so that's always unnatural. If I had to guess, it would probably be his fist. Because when you fall like that and your body relaxes in that way, or well, you know, your spine snaps, you would probably have a flat hand, right? You'd be trying to catch yourself. This hand is moved like this because they were writing the message with that hand, but... Yes! Alright, if you feel like due to an unfortunate accident, then his fist just doesn't seem quite right.
I was right. Hooray. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat, to catch themselves, as Brilly said. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist, almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago.
You did?
And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please.
Why, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? Yes, absolutely. This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle.
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. Very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. The crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure we've seen it somewhere before, when someone's giant arm wasn't blocking it.
Observation, Mr. Naruhodo, that is the key. Truth now is tantalizingly close.
How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist?
That is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe! Find the answer with your own eyes.
It would be the left, or maybe the right? No, it would be this one. Because you'd be like, hey, look at this ear.
Yes!
Yes, this is why we can look at her ears.
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. So you have a crescent moon as well.
Ah! What?
And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. Little link holding it must have broken, I suppose.
Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped the crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just a moment before you fell into the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold on to it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh no.
Angel? No one can protect you now, even though this guy is right in front of you. Please, Mr. Pavlova, tell us the truth. What the heck is going on?
One second, taking care of something. There we go.
Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
Ag. Hiya!
Why did she explode?
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much.
Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of last night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible, long day. Daka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Daka would not come back.
What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment, sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Get to see him in his final moments, flowing in the wind. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from the land and faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? Sure, I read that your ballet company is performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
He wouldn't. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Meow! Darka jumped out of my arms and down the young man's feet. And then... As he turned around to look at me... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I did it. I was just so scared. And... I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty in the passageway.
I heard Nina cry out and then thud on floor, so I ran to her. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It's like, shouldn't the captain already know about it? Why would he care? But chances are he was just gonna go get Naruhodo. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
Then you decided to help, and that's when you arranged things in Cosmo's cabin to make it look like I did it. No one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door.
Yes. I went to cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. Then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right, that's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange papers signed.
Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sasato started to believe in me when I said I was innocent.
I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote wardrobe in Russian, so the person who found him will look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in cabin. I did not know this other half.
And then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway?
Da. Accordingly, the SS Boyer did indeed come to an emergency halt a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt of the cabin door slide shut, creating a locked room mystery.
Still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact you'd run away from your homeland. It's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes, but even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem?
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first?
What are you doing at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. Thought it was a friend of mine.
He said that an inspector was his friend.
Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that police knew about me. They would arrest me.
Well, at least that explains the captain thing.
So before he could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense.
Again?
I mean, was Mr. Asogi really gonna pull the bell cord?
I don't know.
What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you your secret away, then he wouldn't have done that.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make.
What? Another deduction? But this has been going on for like 3 hours already.
What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? I think I already called it. He was gonna wake up. Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? He was gonna share his secret to prove that he could be trusted with her secret. First, consider the victim's location within this cabin.
That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yeah, I spent quite a lot of time in that wardrobe, but still, that cabin's my home for this entire voyage.
So how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-san.
Yeah, it's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's the simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze of where it lands. Where he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
Take that!
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, it certainly may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord.
Yes, however. What is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. Not a lion, not a witch, only a wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Ah! Miss Pavlova, please think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
Give me a moment, I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion?
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that.
You better be alive, baby.
But I wish you made sure Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Miss Pavlova, I wanted to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that'll never change. Hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done?
And so, at
At long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident of the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. So I guess we're not going to court for this. But we never found the cat. Oh hey, his wound's healed.
What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then?
Once we reach the Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard.
What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her?
Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out.
Mr. Sholmes could do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then?
No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she'd be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Strong enough?
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I'll give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. Hey, my wrists are free. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste. But... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you?
Duh. I do this thing. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the council to arrange your passage back to Japan.
Yeah, I did stow away after all. Couldn't really expect anything different.
So you should get back to your cabin now, where your friend died. Thanks for bringing that up. Did we get his sword?
Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. Think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Sato?
Naruhodo, I didn't know you had returned.
Well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that.
Oh no, the shaking in her eyes.
I still can't believe this has happened. Can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Sato.
He had such a grand ideas for the visit to Great Britain. So many dreams, and now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth, that it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo. It's too much.
Yeah, I know.
I wish there was something I could say. My duty was to see Asogi safely to Great Britain, but I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Nobody blames you, Inspector. Why am I in shackles? And I'm free again now. Hey, wait a second.
Ha ha ha! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo?
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting.
Sorry?
So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway, after all. Ha ha!
Think this is funny?
Yes, he is a terrible bodyguard and should have been in the room. Or at the very least, he should have insisted on, you know, being near the cabin.
Mr. Sholmes? We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. Hope you'll be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking in the next port, in Hong Kong. I have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway.
The terms of the study were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant.
Was to be.
In the light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Sasato.
My dear fellows, the majority of your problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is 1 lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there's no one else necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer other than the one that I've been talking to this whole time.
Qualifications, you say? Huh. Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Miss Sasato?
Yes?
Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
Well, you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruto. Technically, yes, he is. He defended himself in court, like, 3 days ago. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry, in that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, I have a month in which to study to learn what I must learn to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruto,
that's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's 30 days in a month, Hosonaga.
Only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day, and every single bone. Even my pinky bone. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate.
But why put yourself in such a difficult position?
For Kazuma said there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mr. Sato?
No. Oh.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you.
So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree?
I'll become the great ace attorney. And yeah, I keep getting framed for murder. I need to study something.
Fascinating? Duty and rules are dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination.
Speak for yourself.
Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes, from the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. even if his voice leaves something to be desired.
I don't know what that means.
Very well, I'll think of a clever way to word my report for the Department of Justice.
Inspector?
After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Hope he doesn't get punched in the face again.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay the captain's a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. We discuss what to do next and how best to make my report. Are we the Larry of this game? So far, yes.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Although, I'll say that, Phoenix, Nick, also got accused of murder at least 3 times. So... it might just be a family trait.
I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer, and maybe about being a samurai? I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all. Thank you. And then we'll go to that country. And Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this.
Perfect. Exactly what I wanted.
What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma would have wanted.
It's what I wanted.
Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword with 9 tails. It's been in the Asogi clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Mrs. Sato, things will be working together for some time to come yet. It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruto. And for the next 40 days, I shall not grant you a single day's of rest. We shall fill every spare moment and every suspicious-looking nook and cranny with study. Yeah, that's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me into the ground. 3 times! What? But you flipped me like 4 times! I should have never have doubted you. You were Kazuma's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And now, no matter how sad I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away. And the cabin door was locked from the inside and... No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should have never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times. 5? Was it 5 times? I counted 4. But 5 times? That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it. No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life.
Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Not a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
When did he see that?
Several times. I presume it'd be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susato takedown. Leaves your head swimming, believe me.
Fabioly. I'll take your word for that. I'm a practitioner of combative arts myself. I'm a somewhat accomplished boxer, if you couldn't tell by this one move I do over and over again.
There he goes, dancing around again.
Wonder if you'd be so kind of instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Penny's here now.
Are you ready, Mr. Naruto?
Hiya! Yep.
As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Of course you are.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that's what you term the Sasato takedown, is it? Actually, no, that was the Sasato squash.
In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma? That's right, it's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. That click. Japanese man's sword is his soul in this game. Can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe it. His name compels you really to slice evil in two? Not that you would ever need much compelling. On that subject, something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen.
I don't think we've seen that yet, but maybe. Is he the Silver Samurai? Did he inspire it? I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Yeah, of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was, because everyone's so vague. But I'm gonna see the place for myself and work it out. Great Britain's capital, London.
The end. So, that was the end of episode 2. I am pretty sad that it starts talking to us. It's his soul. It's gonna start talking to us like Mia. The runaway room is next. But that'll have to be it for right now, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for our boat adventure. I'm sad that Kazuma's dead, but as I said as soon as we met him, he had so many death flags they were always flowing in the wind. But I have to get up and get some foodstuffs, so I will see you all later. Probably tomorrow for more of something. So thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a good night. Bye for now.